Spoken name.
He lurked in the shadows, waiting and hoping she wouldn't take a different route. This was her usual room. He knew that. He knew her.
Ghost of Me. The new book by Amanda Steele can be found at Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, and many, many other places. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded since then. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at Spoken Label bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free stream in there, but obviously, if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label. Hi guys, Andy N. Spoken Label back in the house again, and it seems to be becoming a reoccurring repeat on the lockdown at the moment, where it's given me a chance to catch up with a few guests that I've been on before. And the guest I've got on today, we were talking before, I reckon about 4 years ago, I chatted with this gentleman as well. So he's a fantastic poet, and he really is a strict one-off, because get our notes together, I didn't realise before how much of the stuff he actually does. He makes me look like an amateur with side projects and projects. So, Drey, do you want to introduce yourself, everybody? Tell them briefly who you are and where all your creativity came from, and then we'll jump on to what you've done since the last time we chatted.
Hello, Spoken Label podcast. It is an honour for me to return once again to Andy's abode. My name is DreyZera, and where does my creativity come from? Well, let me tell you. The creativity comes from everywhere around me. Regardless of these four walls, whilst at the time of recording, we are in isolation. But what comes with the creativity is by talking to the fellow Moonlight Army, which is the coin phrase of my fans, or my friends, or my family, and literally just anything that really intrigues me that absorbs underneath this mask.
Cool. Now, obviously, like I said, I know your creativity has been going on for quite a while now. Now, since the last time we chatted, and I know you've been to America, haven't you? You did some poetry in America, in San Francisco, in the end of 2017. How did that go, first of all, then?
So yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. What happened was that I hooked up with a performer called Chris Vinoy, who performed in the UK. However, I never met him in person, but I talked to him via social media, and he hooked me up with the Repeat Beat Poet Society in San Francisco, in the California area. And one thing led to another, and he said to me, well, if you can get to America, you want to perform? And I said, yeah. So at around November, October time, around that kind of time in 2017, I went out and did my DreyZera thing there. And yeah, it was an amazing experience performing abroad and to a different audience. And yeah, I mean, it was really an eye-opener, because even though America and English, those two countries, America and England, we speak the same language, but culturally, they generally think or has obviously been brought up differently. Like, for example, in California, you purchase, for example, suntan lotion, it says $3 or something. Then, but depends on what state you're from, it'll say on the receipt $3.35, because every state has a different tax system. So I found that quite intriguing indeed.
Yeah, it's very different. I didn't know that at all. So, how did the poetry scene over there then compare to England, for example? Because I know you've been up and down England, and we'll come on to that in a bit. But was it a very, very different experience performing over there then, was it? For the night you were at and stuff like that?
I feel that in America, I can only base my personal experience from the event in San Francisco because I only performed at one event. I didn't go all around stateside. But I feel that from my experience, there is a real differentiation from slam poetry and reading. So I've noticed that in America, when we say in England an open mic night or a spoken word night, we never call it a reading, right? We don't really call it a reading. However, in America, if you have material that you've got from a book or you're just performing in general, that's not a slam event, at least in San Francisco or at least in California, from my experience, they call it a reading. So it's different semantics, but essentially it is the same mustard, to be fair. So I feel that the only real difference, I guess, is obviously you write poetry or you write material generally based on what you see or how you feel, and generally what they see in America from their perspective is different to what we see here, because every single country has their own different mindsets and how they formulate opinions.
Cool. Okay, now obviously a bit more close to home then after that. I know in late 2018 to most 2019, you obviously took a break, didn't you? So you've come back in the 2019, haven't you? As you said before, it's a rebirth really. So, and what made you want to come back then after you took a break?
So what happened was that throughout 2017, I was performing on stage on an average of 10 performances a month, which equals out as one every 3 days. I calculated this.
That's a lot.
And I felt that towards the end of that year, I felt pretty burned out in the sense that I felt that whilst I was still getting my name out there and doing the hard yards, doing that performing expose that you do when you go on stage, it does become muscle memory. However, I didn't really take care of myself mentally. So what happened was during 2018, I really scaled back on the performing side of things, and I took a mini break in the first part of 2018 and then performed a little bit towards the second, third of 2018. But then towards 2019, I think something was really missing. I feel that sometimes personal things in your life start to overshadow the things you want to do in life. And I feel that what happened was that through the tribulation of being in association with certain people caused me to burn out at times and really lost my love of poetry and performing, and it made me feel almost like a shell of myself from, say, 2017. I'd say that was a peak of DreyZera, but 2018 and 2019, if we go to a graph, it kept shooting down. But 2020, towards the back end of 2019 and 2020, I really started to focus on my mind. I started to treat spoken word poetry and starting to get a real routine going and treat poetry and writing and general performance more like a sport, really, in the sense that you have to act more like an athlete and you have to be more disciplined in things. So for me, what I did was I left my job after 3 years in 2020, before lockdown happened. So this was in the books for a while. I planned this a while ago. And I did this so that I can go full steam ahead and really work on DreyZera, working on me. And so what I did is I trademarked my name. I legally went through IPO, did all that kind of stuff to essentially not only be professional, but also really put everything into DreyZera, because I feel that you can't show any more passion in doing what you want to do than really going full steam ahead.
Yeah, good point. Good point, mate. I agree with you completely with that. So, But also, I said you have started off quite a few projects, haven't you, under YouTube channels? I know, obviously, you've just told me before, you've just finished one off called Palm Chronicles. You want to tell people what the Palm Chronicles is next then?
So this is interesting. So I don't want to spoil too much in case people want to watch this Palm Chronicles.
Yeah,
So,
of course, no spoilers, right?
no spoilers. This is spoiler free. So what happened was that during late March, I added myself into this Facebook group about having fun while in lockdown, kind of thing, and I put a topic up saying, "What does everyone do for a living?" And so this one individual called Becca, she said that she does palm readings and oracle readings, and then she linked her page, and I thought, you know what, this sounds very fascinating. So I went on her Facebook page, and then I instinctively messaged her and said, I said, look, would you like to read my palms? And so, yeah, so obviously I can't see her in person because of the whole isolation at this recording. But what I did was I sent a picture of my hands, both without the gloves. And what happened is that I got the palm reading back and an oracle reading back by audio. So what happened is that I listened to the audio, and then it really struck me an idea saying, what if I mix spoken word with palm reading? So what happened is that
unusual, yeah.
The plot happened on the second channel, which we'll get onto in a bit, as you mentioned. At the end of one of the videos on the second channel, DreyZera on the fantasy football channel, the second channel, he got like split into two, which is one being the masked version and the other being the unmasked version, where the masked version got stuck in the dimension created by Becca Mysteries, which is the name of the woman who captured me. And so what happened is that the Palm Chronicles is a tale of me in 4 episodes trying to get out of the dimension, with Becca essentially reading my palms and my prophecy. So I mixed the two together, and I thought it was a very unique project with the view of just creating new art, really, because I feel like in the spoken word world, I feel people focus far too much on staying safe, staying in one lane, and just literally mainly just to, without sounding disrespectful, it's nothing bad, but if you want to really push yourself and try new things, I think it's very important to always be daring and be open to ideas rather than stay in one zone, because I feel that as much as I do like watching slams and seeing how certain performers in certain ways that they perform in order to get higher marks, I'm not like that. For me, I always wanted to create art, and in doing so, I always want to implement new ideas and just essentially just really express myself. And I think that's the most important thing. I feel that what the Palm Chronicles show for me is a form of expressing myself, and also bringing in ideas from a completely different world that no one would think of, bring it into the spoken word world, and literally just mix it up, because I honestly feel that, truthfully and honestly, I feel that I'm really proud of this project. And even though the budget was 100% less than Psycho Lucy, I'm equally proud of it for different reasons. And obviously, I always want to promote different artists as well. And Becca, she's a very creative person herself, and it was quite an honor to work with her.
Cool. Now, obviously, you've just hinted at the next thing we're going to talk about is Psycho Lucy, because I know you've just had, haven't you, a Psycho Lucy week on your YouTube channel by now.
Yeah, Psycho Lucy Psycho week. Yes.
That was a project you did last year, wasn't it? So the back end of last year, you had it as your big. Well, I don't like using the word comeback when you do your, I think, reimagining or rebirth. So for people that don't know what Psycho Lucy is, you're going to tell next what Psycho Lucy is.
So Psycho Lucy is an idea that really stemmed from, essentially, Psycho Lucy is a tale of three people, Lucy being the main character, Andros being Lucy's partner, and Tara being the friend of Andros. The tale of three of them going through topics of abuse, hardship, relationship, love, and dark thematic kind of stuff, really, because I feel that, initially speaking, and I could reveal this, I haven't really revealed this to anyone, but to be honest, it's because it hasn't happened and it won't happen, I'll tell you now. Initially, Psycho Lucy was meant to be a 6-episode series and then turn it into a book. However, because of the fact that after Psycho Lucy and post Psycho Lucy, I was really in a kind of a muddle in my mind, in the sense that I was really down and sad and didn't feel creative. So I scrapped that whole book idea. However, I guess one positive is it made Psycho Lucy stand up on its own 2 feet. It's not anything extra. It is the series. It should be admired and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so we made it into 6 episodes, and all of this was filmed in a 5 to 6 day period in Bath, in Somerset. We shot it there, and yeah, it was really intense. There were things that I felt I learned from, because nothing goes plain sailing with that kind of length of filming, and dealing with people such as myself, especially me. Like, really, like, I feel that there are things that which was covered in the Tales of Zera review, and my own podcast, the DreyZera Uncensored podcast, of which the downfalls and kind of pitfalls that I fell into, but it did really put me in better stead, because that was a very strong learning curve for me. Like, even though Psycho Lucy, it turned out absolutely amazing, there were times that it was very hard. And I think, honestly, that had a bit of a knock-on effect for me. Like, it wasn't that specifically, but that in a small percentage contributed to me having that long break, because this was all filmed. Psycho Lucy was filmed a year before it came out. So it was all filmed in a week period back in 2018, in April. Hence why we are doing and did the Psycho Lucy Psycho Week celebration of Psycho Lucy 2 years on from filming, because I feel that even though it had a lot of eyes and a lot of viewers at the time when it came out at the back end of last year, I feel that the cast and the way it was promoted is not to the level of which that I am doing and have done now for Psycho Lucy. So I hope that the people that... Sorry, Andy?
I get you completely, mate. I understand. You learn everything you do, mate. You learn from everything you do. So yeah, I agree with you.
Absolutely. And I mean, for me, it's all in all, for me, it's all about Psycho Lucy. Watching back and going through the process was not only therapeutic for the mind, but it was therapeutic in working with a group of people. And overall, I mean, all of them still talk to me, so it wasn't all that bad. So that's the main important thing. And all of the cast, I mean, Steph who played Lucy, Katie who played Tara, Zach who played Andros, and Adam Saloglu, who runs Chroma Productions. He was absolutely instrumental, alongside all of them, every one of them. They were truly instrumental in making Psycho Lucy something to be really proud of for me.
Well done, mate. Well done, mate. Okay, right. We'll move on here. So I'm going to keep half an hour of the time. I want to get you through some poems out for us today as well. But I know you've obviously set up a new YouTube channel as well as your main YouTube channel, haven't you? DreyZera Fantasy, which you told me before is about your fantasy football. What made you want to actually do a second YouTube channel?
So for me, I was planning this for a few months. So during the start of this season, this Football Premier League season in England, I have been playing fantasy football for a few seasons now, but I stumbled across this YouTube channel called Elite FPL, and
Hmm.
they are very intriguing. They're awesome people. Jason and Stevo, they're the co-hosts of that YouTube channel, and I joined their Discord server. And what happened was is that I really started to get really deep into FPL, and I thought to myself, "Yo, this is quite fun." So I started contributing and talking ideas about football and transfers and all that kind of stuff. And what happened was is for me, I really got to chat with all the moderators and admins to the point that I've actually a few months ago became moderator for the Elite FPL. So
Well done, mate.
I still can't believe they made me moderator. But jokes aside, it's awesome. And so what happened was that around February, I would say January this year, I was thinking about making this fantasy football channel mainly because I felt that for me, and this is my own personal opinion, I feel that Elite FPL is one of the very few YouTube channels in fantasy football that has a lot of entertainment and humor and fun. And I feel that a lot of other fantasy football channels, they aren't really, they're informative, they're far more detailed than I'll ever be, but they don't really focus on the entertainment side of things, which, you know, to be fair, it works for them, it's fine for them, but for me, I like to be entertained. I like to be swept off my feet whenever I watch any YouTube content or any content on TV that's either thought-provoking or entertaining in whatever way. So I thought to myself, you know what? I can create a fantasy football channel, just being entertaining and just do a quote-unquote mad thing about it. Because for me, I just want to be entertaining and just express a different side of fantasy football from a different perspective, because I feel that, especially since I launched the YouTube channel around when the isolation period began, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to continue on just doing fantasy football content, even though there's no fantasy football at the moment, because as of filming, there's no football happening in England. So I upload twice a week on the second channel, 4 times a week on the main channel, and I upload a separate video on Instagram that syndicates to Facebook on Sunday. So that's the current schedule that I go on to.
Yes, a lot of recording that one, mate. God almighty, wow. Right, okay. Moving on quickly, because I've got to keep an eye on the time, because I want to give you a chance to read a few poems out for us. But I know obviously you've done a debut music video fairly recently as well, haven't you? So loose. Where did this come from, this collaboration idea then?
So for me, music is a big passion of mine, and I felt that the only music experience I had was way back a long time ago doing GCSE music, and I was just doing singing. But my singing abilities back then is far better than it is currently. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to express myself a different way, because I feel that, as I mentioned before, I don't want to stay in one lane. So I don't want to be just known as a poet or a spoken word performer. I like to coin the phrase an artist or a hybrid artist, because for me, I want to do other things as well as poetry, like obviously fantasy football. So for me, I just want to really go into the music side of things and really go into the deep end. Now, being honest, for someone that hasn't really dabbled in music, I personally thought the music video went kind of cool. And interestingly, if we were to compare it to Psycho Lucy, there was far more planning in this 4-minute music video than Psycho Lucy. I'll give you a quick example, which I mentioned before in the past videos. When we were shooting at the location of Cut Them Loose, me and my film team, it was just me, Peter, who was the main director, cameraman, and our mate Ian, who had the second camera. We went to the site, which was an abandoned RAF base that's been abandoned since 1987. We went there and we checked the area and we analysed the area just for scenes and all that kind of stuff. A month, like 5-6 weeks before the music video was even shot, and we were discussing the storyboard and ideas a month prior to that. So Cut Them Loose, the project, the actual working and the process behind it, there were far more details and storyboarding and analysis on it. And yeah, Cut Them Loose, the music video itself, I wanted to make it interpretive art. So for all those that haven't seen the music video, I wanted to make it interpretive in the sense of you can make out for yourself what's happening in the music video. But for me, the lyrics are mainly about me in the experience of having dark influences behind me and having people that you need to cut them loose from, because there have been people in my life, and I'm sure anyone can probably relate to this, there have been people in people's lives that had a stranglehold in their life in the sense that it has become unhealthy, not good for them kind of thing. And you just need to cut them loose in order to escape and to just feel better about yourself, because we've all had toxic people in our lives, and they might actually be nice people, but they could be toxic to you. So that was the premise of the lyrics and the music video being made. And R&B, who features in it, he's a mate of mine called Rob, who was, well, and still is. He still is. I've known him for over 10 years, and he plays guitar, and he made the music behind the music video, and we shot it at his studio, the audio of it. So yeah, that was intense, and that was fun in itself. But what the music video has taught me is that I did spoken word and have done spoken word to this point for over 4 years now. But music is a whole new kettle of fish for me. So since then, because I know that my voice can definitely improve, I really want to work on my voice and improve, because I know that if I don't improve my voice, and say if I perform Cut Them Loose live, I feel that I could blow my voice out. So for me, I'm going to, well, I have done vocal training using basically what a Voitech vocal training, which is the premier vocal training course, which this individual, I think his name was Ron Anderson, don't quote me on his name, but he was the one that has worked with some amazing singers such as Matt Heafy of a band called Trivium, and M Shadows, who perform for Avenged Sevenfold, and big artists. And he released a vocal training course, which I've been doing for weeks now, and yeah, that's really helping me in my voice. And I mean, will I make another music video? Well, who knows? I'll you have to wait and see.
Yeah, life is full of wait and sees, I would say. Now, two quick things I want to finish up on today on the chat side. We get to do a few poems, so I'm keeping an eye on the time because I know the time is like on Zoom. Now, is obviously you bought a book out since the last time we chatted, didn't you? Broken Circuit Board. Tell people a little bit about that book, where it came from.
So, Broken Circuit Board. This book here, it was the book deal was signed back in November 2016, and then a few months later, we had an interview about that. And so, yeah, a gentleman called Terry Gilbert Fellows, he's the individual that runs Blackheath Dawn, who is a publishing company that printed and sorted out Broken Circuit Board. And yeah, Broken Circuit Board is a book where the vibe of the poetry, not essentially all the poems, but the vibe of it is essentially how social situation and your whole life, you break circuits, because we aren't robots at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, eventually we're going to get worn out and that kind of stuff. And that's where the actual poem itself, Broken Circuit Board was inspired by. And the front cover is of a lady named Lottie, who has been my best friend for 16, 17 years now. And wow. Yeah, it's awesome that Lottie's on the front cover, because this is an individual who means a lot to me, and yeah, she's an amazing person. And I mean, for me, I'm really proud of this book in the sense that I look at the poems and I'm like, wow, I wrote that. Not in the sense that I think it's good or bad, but more to the point that, oh, I wrote that? Wow. Because most of these poems were written back in 2016. That came out July 2017. And yeah, it's just really fascinating to have a book published, because regardless if for any reader if they think it's good or bad, for me because anything that you create is always open to criticism or interpretation. For me, in short, I'm just so glad I went through the book writing process and all that kind of stuff, because if ever I were to do this again, then I feel that I'm not only set for it, but I feel that like any artist, I feel that any good artist should always progress to the next stage. So even though, yeah, absolutely,
Definitely. Yeah, completely. That you learn something from, and that's what leads you to next, definitely. Now, I want to get on to do a few poems for us in a moment. But if people want to find out more about you, where is the best going?
Repeat that.
Sorry, to conclude then. So I want to get you to read a few poems for us to conclude. If people want to find out more about you, where are the best going?
Right. So first and foremost, I feel that all of you should definitely, if you want to know more about Broken Circuit Board, definitely head over to my own website, DreyZera.net. Head over there and you can purchase this book. It's available worldwide. And if you buy this book, you'll get it signed for free if you go on that link. Don't even worry about Amazon. Don't go on Amazon, all right? Now, my book is on Amazon, but for me, you get it direct from DreyZera.net. Hey, then definitely go through there. Definitely check out my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. They're all DreyZera. If you type in DreyZera, you'll find them to stay more connected than a broken circuit board.
Good man. Right, we'll conclude the interview a bit, mate. But I know you're going to do a few poems for us. So we'll take a quick break, everybody. Hang around. When we come back in a minute, Drey's going to do a couple of poems for us, mate. So hang around. See you.
Okay.
Spoken, mate. Hi, guys. Still here with Drey. So straight over to Drey, and he's going to do 3 poems for us today. Over to you, my friend.
Hello, Moonlight Army. We'll be doing 3 poems today, and as we mentioned, Broken Circuit Board, this will be a Broken Circuit Board only 3 poems. Okay, so as of this recording, this is recorded on the birthday of a wonderful individual known as Louise. Now, I wrote this poem in dedication to Louise's daughter, Gabrielle, and yes, it's called For the Love of Gabrielle, and it's inspired by the hardship that she had to go through in order to raise a wonderful human being that I met during 2016. Anyway, this is For the Love of Gabrielle. Beautiful, she's beautiful. The way she walks, looks and feels, blissful, all blissful. Pulls me from darkness, brings me to brightness, ascends from my depths, descends to sweet peaks. Magical, all powerful, and yet she's but one. A shooting star, a loving sun, the miracle seated in my heart. She forever will blossom and bloom, blissfully beautiful. Gabrielle.
Oh, that's lovely, mate. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, then it's beautiful. Okay, yeah. Ready for number 2 then, mate. That was lovely, that. Lovely start.
Thank you. So the second poem is something that we didn't actually speak about because not many people know this as a hobby, but in the past, on 2 occasions in my life, I've done tall ship sailing.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
And for all those that don't know what tall ship sailing is when you go on ships that legitimately is like the ships you've seen in Pirates of the Caribbean, where literally you have to climb the mast, you have to set sail, you have to steer the rudder, you have to literally do all that kind of stuff. You stay in cabin. So essentially I've done 2 voyages, one from Blythe near Newcastle to Ipswich, and the second voyage is from Amsterdam to Portsmouth. So in total, I've been in the waters for around 2 weeks combined.
Wow.
So yeah. So this poem, in dedication to that, is called Breeze of the Sweet Blue Sea. Shout out to the Tall Ships Youth Trust. That was a company that created all these wonderful memories for me and my good friend Mel, who introduced me to tall ship sailing in the first place. The breeze over the sweet blue sea, light sails shine bright through the night, dressed in the mess, no such dress. Let the wave sway, let it play, sort the clues out, loose and stout. Climb up the mast, not so fast. Let the fresh air bless your sense. Dress your lip tips for the ship. Let the wings and let it sing. The breeze over the sweet blue sea. I'm free.
Wonderful. Great stuff, mate. Nice change in contrast to your first piece there as well. So good choice that, mate, I think. Okay, on to your finale now, the grand finale.
So this is a poem that I haven't performed in a long time. So you know what? I'm going to do this. This is a little bit borderline sultry. So this poem is interesting. It is inspired by how in the past, back in the days when I used to drink the alcohol, so I've been sober for about 4 years now. And back in the days when I used to drink, and even the times where I haven't been drinking but I still went out, I've had people who's drank a bit too much alcohol, for example, gin, and they act remarkably promiscuous. And I just find it funny because obviously when you're in an inhibited state, such as being drunk, you act different to where you are normally sober. So this poem is called Gin Unlocked. David is not bad, I guess, sips gin. He has a nice smile, I suppose. Hopeless, sitting down, sips gin. Well, his calves look so tough. I bet he's walked miles. Stands up, sips gin, finishes gin, drinks more gin. Goodness, I never thought shoulders would flex like that. Walk around with 2 glasses of gin, chugs it down loud and proud. My days, the way he shakes his lips. It's as beautiful as swan lake. Just kiss my lips! Stutters and zigzags with toilet paper trail by the soul, topping up more gin. God almighty, praise his glorious man in his present form, head to toe. He could derobe anytime. Oh my. Slurring, crawling on all fours without a drink, knocking a bottle, throwing up in the sink. He's the man of my dreams. He makes me scream from my lungs, shivers my plump bum. Let's have babies, maybe. Please, oh please! Fainted, hung overhead, woke up in a backyard shed, opened up my feelings, but he ended up leaving. Perhaps it's a sin to drink too much gin. Thank you.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Great way of finishing that. I know gin very well from what my little lady drinks of it, shall we say. Brilliant, Drey. Been a fantastic set today. Been great to catch up. Like I say, don't be strange, mate. Let's get you back on again when you've got more stuff to talk about. Probably 4 years time, mate. We're above 4 years.
Hopefully, it won't be that long. This Spoken Label podcast has done a lot for various artists up and down the land. So, definitely. Who knows? I could probably look different. I could have a different hairstyle. I remember when I last did Spoken Label with you, my hair looked as short as this.
Yeah, he was slightly different man back then. He was, should we say, but he's interested. Yeah, and then in 4 years' time, I'll probably have no hair. To honestly wait, or wait, if this lockdown's still going on in 4 years' time, my hair will be down as long as yours, probably down from the shoulders. Right? But brilliant, mate, fantastic. Hang around. Need to quick word you off, Mike. But it's Andy N signing out. See you all soon. Spoken. Thanks again for listening to another session of the Spoken Label. Our full archive can be found over on Bandcamp at Spoken Label. That's one word. Spoken Label. Full stop. Bandcamp.com. And there is over 150 sessions there. So I'm sure that if you've enjoyed this session, there'll be something else there you can enjoy as well. Take care. Bye bye.
Spoken, mate.